iPads are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremont.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day I'm not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now, the two guys that took 2 years to fix their audio problems.
Welcome to BGFG episode 304. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and now joining me this week is Mr. Freemosey. It's, again, getting close to Christmas. We're just busy. And sometimes things just don't work out. I'm sure I'll get with him and talk to him about a few things as the week progresses. But I want to get something out before Christmas actually happened. So I put that picture up of him as a cranky Santa because he's a cranky person right now. So we're going to do this last holiday show, just trying to get a little information out there for everybody. As we always try to do is smarten up the sheep or the sheeple out there. And here on BGFG, we do something usually starting off the show. That's unfortunate, but we do Not Coming Down for Breakfast. These are the celebrities that are not coming down for breakfast. And this year there's been quite a few, and we want to touch base upon them. Freeman and I usually give them a congratulations, making it on to the next level. And it's probably, just here's a ticket and towel to get you on your way. So, Danny Aiello was the most recent that happened. I thought that kind of surprised me because he's been active on Twitter lately. So that was kind of cool that he was active on Twitter. Not cool that he passed away. Carol Channing, who is the darling of Broadway musicals and such. Robert Forster, who I thought was hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but he was just a great actor, a great serious actor. Good look, good stern, strong look. Rip Torn passed away. Luke Perry. John Stapleton. I mean, she's representing Eli Cummings, who is big. Look him up. Lee Iacocca. Again, Dodge Recreation. Valerie Harper, who we saw on TV growing up, as long as with Luke Perry. Trump's presidential term that is not coming down for breakfast either. But those are some of the things that we lost in 2019. And I also want to go as saying, and I think Freeman would back me up, a lot of brick and mortars are going. Amazon's literally taking over for good reason. At the same time, you still want the places to go to, but look around your own town or own city. Stop looking at your playlists or whatever you're paying attention to and just look around. The stores are closing. Rules are changing for the ones that are in business. They're getting more expensive. They're not able to take as many risks as they once did. They're starting to combine things. GameStop used to be a video game store. Now it's encompassed their Think Geek brand to the point where it's just a store that sells a bunch of stuff for geeks. But even then, they're closing more stores after this holiday season. A lot of the stores, I hate to say it, but a lot of the stores are make or break on this holiday season. If they don't make it, they're closing in 2020. And that is a shame because there's a lot of things where you want to touch, feel, play with before you purchase. There's also the fact that just going in and seeing people there and doing things, and there's just so much about going to a brick and mortar location for multiple reasons, whether you remember going to Radio Shack or a local grocery store that maybe not around anymore. I know in my area, they used to give out green stamps, which you fill these books up with. They probably didn't mean jack to anybody, but oh my God, I could get a valuable prize or something. It was just something to occupy people's time, and it was good. And it's good for local business to give you a local place to work, like a restaurant around your area. Usually you'll have a group of kids that can speak upon it from high school that have worked there, or done a summer there or done something there. You always have these places. It's a shame to see them going. Those are going to be gone in 2020. A lot of them, they just can't survive anymore. They just can't. There's no way to do it. So, kind of on the same path of changes that you were definitely going to see in 2020 that I implore people to do. Let's get on with this week's news.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So first up in this week's news is more Facebook BS. Fremont and I cannot tell you how much just to get yourself, your friends and your family, whomever, off of Facebook. Okay, I always hear the argument of, oh, that's how I keep in touch with my loved ones. That shouldn't happen that way. What it should be is a text message on your phone. I don't care what operating system you have on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or it's a Samsung, and a group text message of your family. Name it something weird, send it to everybody, get everybody on the same page, and say, this is for holiday and group functions. You're done. That's it. There's no other, you don't need a social media outlet to do that. Facebook goes on and on and on with just bullshit, just flat out bullshit. Just, it's almost sickening every time they say something because it's a lie. So an example of that is somebody tried to hack a associates of mine's Google account, and he instantaneously got a text message. He got an email message on his backup account, his other account, on his actual Gmail account, which kind of makes me laugh. And he handled all of these, and he went through the whole process, and he changed the password or whatever, and it was a legitimate bullshit, attempted, failed attack or circumvent. This sort of shit happens regularly, people, okay? Google immediately sends out a bunch of information and hits you with all your stuff and alerts you. Big red banners, even when you log in on the website, big red banner on the bottom. You have to pay attention to it. Let's solve this problem. Let's figure this out. Now, granted, when I log into something at work or on the work network, it registers me as the server that my work is, and it's many states away. But that's a work issue. At home, it should be just fine. But Facebook, you're lucky if you get an internal message a day later or an internal email to your Facebook account because they want you to stay exclusively in Facebook. This is very much what AOL did in the early days, where all you have to do is go to AOL and stay at AOL and get all your information from AOL. It's a bad idea. Facebook's doing that now. But the fact that, even when you have been compromised, it's in the sea of other bullshit that Facebook delivers to you. It's just too much. It's too confusing. It's, even as a geek, when you go in there and try to set up your security, unless you shut everything off just blatantly right off the cuff and then spend hours and hours and hours of tweaking things of who you want to be able to repost stuff, who you want to be able to see stuff, it's really way more time consuming than it needs to be. Myself and my wife recently we're done with Facebook. We're off completely, deleted our accounts, removed our accounts. And you already see it in your features, especially if you have an iPhone, your screen time. Look at your screen time. You'll be amazed as to how much time you get back. And now Facebook, being the douchebags that they continue to be, tried to convince lawmakers recently that they need to track user information. So here's some stuff, again, that Fremont and I bring to the masses to let you know how to talk to the sheeple when you talk to them. Friends, relatives, people in the holidays that are just completely clueless. And you got to give them a certain way. You can't just blurt out a bunch of tech information or stuff. You have to smooth them over. So what this is the lawmakers, Facebook went and said, when they were questioned, by lawmakers, they said they need to track users' information. And lawmakers naturally were like, no, what do you mean? Well, it turns out that when you turn off your location services in your phone for Facebook, it's technically still active. It's still Facebook. It's still tracking. And Senator Chris Coons from Delaware was the one that kind of brought this up. There's a couple of other guys too, but I thought that was, look him up. It's amusing. They want Facebook to respect users' privacy by when they turn off location services to turn them off. They said, no, that's really not what they're in business to do. See, it needs to be on for your picture geolocations, and it needs to be on for GPS purposes, and it needs to be on for future, I forgot how they put it. Read the article. It's rather lengthy, the full article. And it just, and the bottom line, when lawmakers turn around and said, well, you can't do that, they turned, in turn, said, yeah, well, the consumer actually is okay with it because it's part of our EULA agreement. And it's like, what? Wait a minute. That's also part of your EULA agreement? Yeah, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. But I'm sure this is going to get out of hand, okay? Now, you can sit there and accuse anybody of anything, and you can accuse me and Freemo of being, hyper, but here's the theory. So my theory is pretty basic. And I know it gets a lot of laughs, but Freemo and I do this often. The simple problem is that you're going to see Facebook, and we have proof. I'll put the article in the show notes. Why is this still going on? I'll put an article in the show notes that they're now looking, Facebook that is now looking to create their own operating system. So if you want to be afraid before, or you weren't afraid before, be afraid now. Because they want to set up their own operating system. They're tired of using Android, and Apple simply just will not let them put all of those things in there. I cannot confirm or deny. I tried to look up the article, tried to do some research on it. I cannot confirm or deny that Apple, again, being as secure as they want to be and try to be, if you turn off location services, if it literally severs the connection for Facebook, I don't know. I didn't see anything on a quick search about that, so I'm not sure if it applies to Apple or not. But Samsung, it definitely does, and now you have Facebook is turning around saying, well, I can't. Again, in the article, I want to point out that the guy's name is Ficus Kirkpatrick, and that is an just great name, absolutely great name. Needless to say, they're going to create their own operating system. And this is something people should be very, very, very concerned about. Because unlike other companies, Facebook simply doesn't give a shit about you or your privacy. So if they're creating their own operating system, then they do not have to answer to anybody. They don't have to answer to Apple's iOS to explain why they're enabling certain features. They don't have to explain to Samsung why they need access to certain features on the operating system. They don't have to explain to Google's Android division that they need access or they need API for certain pieces. They don't have to explain any of that shit. If they create their own operating system, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. They're going to build it from scratch, so it's not even going to be based on anything. They can control every single aspect, and they have the absolute money to do it. So be on the lookout for a Facebook-branded phone, and be very afraid of it, and stay away from it as much as you possibly can, because it is going to be the most unsecure thing ever. And big conglomerates and ad agencies and things like that are going to desperately scramble to get that information off of that phone and be part of that. I guarantee you, it's going to happen. I guarantee you they're going to gear it toward elderly as well, because that's a large part of their database and user base. And the elderly themselves are going to have a simplistic phone like a Jitterbug or something that has access to Facebook that's going to track their locations to help them from any sort of harm that may cause them. And it goes on and on and on. You look at the GrandPad. We talked about it on the show before. It's just a wonderful device for the older people. It really is. But you're starting to see that with Facebook as well, where they're starting to come up with these one-off things that are geared just toward Facebook. And don't think for a second they're not listening, because it's obvious no matter what they say. And you're gonna see a lot of these issues. These are gonna keep happening, and your privacy is what's important here. Look at a company like OnePlus. OnePlus is a company that makes cell phones. OnePlus makes cell phones, and they're a great company. They're an absolute phenomenal company. So it's one of those things that you look at and you're like, okay, well, it's a good company and everything, but suddenly they get data breached twice in 2 years. It seems kind of odd. I mean, their phones are really, really top notch. I think they're the only competitor to Apple, really. I mean, their hardware is it's solid. It's so good. You got Samsung that's shooting itself in the foot all the time. So Apple's not really worried about them because they'll come out with a flip phone that has a super ultra screen, or, put all their money into a foldable display or something. But it also created something interesting, which is called bug bounties. So bug bounties are bounties that are created by these companies like a OnePlus or an Apple or a Google that will give you money if you find a problem or a flaw in their operating system. And it's pretty impressive. So what OnePlus did now is these exploits are from $50 to $7,000 it can earn you. You basically find the exploit, hand it over to them, they'll confirm it, and they'll cut you a check. It's literally that simple. It gets you a little bit of money, it keeps the hackers being honest, and it turns the company into something that you can plug security holes really quick. Apple, I think, went a step farther, and this is what makes Apple Apple. They went a step farther and said, look, the bottom line is, here's ours. We're going to do a bug bounty as well. If you can get a kernel bug and prove it to us while it's in beta, we're going to give you $1 million. A kernel bug, $1 million. That could take a lot of these heavy, hardcore guys. This could take care of their income. This is a supplemental income. If they could find a decent bug in the operating system itself, and Apple's doing it now across the board, all of their products. If you can find a bug in their system, you can earn $40,000-$50,000. That can put you, well off for better part of a year if you budget yourself correctly. This is actually quite interesting and quite good. I think this is a hell of an idea, and it's going to really, really, really help in these companies establishing some sort of security basis. I mean, from these phones getting hacked or phones getting compromised or anything else, or these bugs. I mean, look at Apple, who's been on the top of the food chain for so long, and iOS 13 comes out and it just fails everywhere. It's awful. It just breaks everything all the time. That's kind of a tough pill to swallow. So you create a bug bounty, and this will prevent all of that from happening. People get these operating systems, and believe me, on my job, I see it all the time. I'll see a bug bounty, not a bug bounty, but I'll see a client come in, and they've got the latest operating system and it's bricked their phone, or they didn't finish the installation process and unplugged it from the computer, and now they have a black screen, and I have to go reset it again. So there's all these different things that can be prevented if you found the bug bounty. Well, here's that bug. If you move it from one location, or if it gets a little dip in power, what's the dip? I don't know, 2 megavolts or 2 millivolts. I don't know. And it unplugs or disrupts the connection. It resets the whole thing and bricks the phone. Well, there should be something that'll, be better than that. But again, that's how we're wrapping up the year. We're wrapping up the year by making sure that we're getting things done. That, you can't look at the negatives all the time, like the presidential bullshit that's going on, or, you can't get depressed about a lot of the stuff. You have to look at some of the positives too. There's a lot of positives coming out of 2019 and the 10s as a whole. The FDA just approved an Ebola vaccine. I mean, that's huge. And as we reported last week, there might be a cure for other diseases that are going to be FDA approval for proof. I mean, HIV. Proof that it's just done. One dosage. It's not a Band-Aid. It's a cure. That's under FDA approval right now. The FDA already approved this Ebola vaccine. I mean, that's huge talk. I mean, you don't see it a lot in this country, but in other countries, Ebola is a serious problem. And this will eradicate it within, 1 or 2 generations, I believe. The vaccine will just prevent it. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. In going on with our Christmas theme this week, I'm going to go ahead and play some music this week, and hopefully I won't get in trouble. Now, I believe this person's name on YouTube is LAI, and I believe because of the type of guitar that this person's playing on this track, I believe they're a Steve Vai fan. If they're a Steve Vai fan, then they spelled their name L-A-I, and that would be Lie, which it can be also cool in rock and roll terms. So what I want to play is the classic Wizards in Winter. And you're going to hear that now, and then we'll come on the other side, and we'll talk about some holiday gifts, last-minute gifts, and we will talk about some other things in For What It's Worth. So, let's get on with Wizards in Winter. That's a great song. And if you watch the video, and again, the links is in show notes. If you watch the video is, I think it's really good. I liked some of the changes he made and some of the things that this person added. Really well done. So, what are we doing now? So, great song. Check it out. Check out some of the other music they have on their site. Let's get into our holiday gift guide. There is nothing in the world like being an aunt or an uncle. When you get a chance to buy your niece or nephew a gift, it's your opportunity as a BGFG listener, as a member of the Phoenix Media Group, part of the flock, so to speak. It is your duty to create something, a gift, to give at this person's home, at your brother or sister's home, that you can absolutely walk away from, but they can't. Now, you might be thinking right off the cuff, Well, that's a drum set. That's a kid's drum set, a little kiddie drum set. That's perfect. Yeah. Oh, I could do like a recorder. Like to get in school, you could take a recorder or maybe even a trumpet. Yep, you're absolutely correct. You could absolutely do that. That would be brilliant. No. You want something that's going to involve them. Not something that they can break or batteries can wear out or something like that. That's funny and you can do that, but the real goal here is to get something that's going to involve them that will stop them from doing whatever the bullshit that they're doing during the course of their day. And we all do it. We really all do it. There's points where we come home from work. People can say whatever they want. Look, we're Generation X. We're not going to fucking lie to you. It's just not something we do. So there's times where we come home from work and it's just like, oh my God, look, I had to deal with enough bullshit at work. I'm listening to you, but I don't have time. I don't want to, even with younger kids, I don't want to go play Legos right now. Okay. I was climbing up and down poles all day at work or I was spinning on poles, depending on your job. And I'm tired and I don't want to get on my hands and knees right now and do this, or it could be 100 different reasons. It happens. Do we do it every time? No, you're a shitty parent if you do, and you need to rethink a few things. But for the most part, I do things with my kids as much as I can, game with them, play things with them, whatever it is. But at the same time, you're going to want those times where you can't. These are gifts that you just simply can't. It's going to involve you and you're going to end up doing it, which is annoying when you're not into it as well. For instance, like a racetrack. Like you're into the racetrack, great. Well, if they don't want to put it together, then I'll do it and then I'll enjoy it. But, man, there's some toys that are just perfect. Like we have in here and again, you can sell it as their smart, intelligent things. So like the Star Wars, Hasbro's got Star Wars Lightsaber Academy. It's like $50. And they customize everything. And then they have a Bluetooth app on their phone or their device. Because don't tell me they don't have one. But they have this app on their phone that will tell them and teach them how to maneuver and how to fight and how to do different things. And as a martial artist, I can appreciate that. I think that's kind of cool that they get to move their body. And again, kids moving their bodies is very good however you make them do that. These are selling points because your sister or your brother, the parent of said child, is now going to have to get the second lightsaber and duel. And that's just the way it is because you want them to work and you want them to do well at it. So this is what you're going to have them do. And it is fun, but again, it's going to be time consuming. And there's a bunch. I put a list in the show notes, a link. They have a Monopoly voice bank, which is great because then they have to yell at shit all the time, which is awesome. Now it's just loud and obnoxious 24 hours a day. And don't forget about Legos. You got to have some Legos in the house. They have a graveyard one, which has nice, shiny, sharp objects and looks relatively difficult. But if they're a little bit older, don't worry, because I kind of want this too, and I'd love to have one of my children buy it for me and help me. That would be awesome. Is the Lego Imperial Star Destroyer, which is really detailed. That's going to take you a better part of a few days. It's got 4,700 pieces. It's going to be a while. There's a lot of things that are interactive with a device that you hopefully have gotten them already or their parents were forced to buy them. And you just want to push that fact a little bit. Hot Wheels makes an ID Smart Track that the kids can have on their device and tweak out the settings and things like that. And it's loud because it's powered to push the cars through. So that's great. Added bonus. You're just going to piss them off on a regular basis. You can get Pictionary. If they have a Nintendo, you can get them I always want to say Labo, the VR starter kit, because that's going to involve time. You're going to have to help them put that together. And one after my own heart. Now, Fremo and I have said this numerous times. One of the gifts that we miss giving to people and kind of getting is the old Radio Shack transistor toys. They would teach you about electronics by having spring clips and things like that, and you would make these different things, and it would come with a little booklet that would tell you how to make a radio, how to tell you make a two-way walkie-talkie, and it was all these little things, and it had a base unit breadboard that you could do that. Again, thanks to the wonderful snowflakes that are out there, they have dumbed that down as well. So now Playtime Engineering Blipbox is basically a circuitry, but you don't get to see it or manipulate it. You just get to turn dials, which is kind of lazy, which is typical to that generation. But that's okay because they also have the coding playset You'll see that in the list as well. Again, coding's great. Teach them coding. But, don't dumb it down to the point where it just doesn't make any sense, And then on the other end, you get the furry toys and the owls and cool stuff, and it's just bad. But you'll see stuff like the Tech Will Save Us has an arcade coder that you can teach the kids, like a little breadboard like we used to have at Radio Shack. And you'll be able to add things and make little... It's just really cool. Look into this list for the niece or nephew that you actually like. It's not that you don't like them, but this is going to be time consuming. So either you're going to help them or their parents are going to help them. And that's just the way that's going to be. And you're going to have to deal with that. And it's unfortunate that Freemo's not here because another gadget I was going to bring up this year. And believe it or not, there's people that truly still like this. And that's Blackberry. BlackBerry's very cool. I don't have a problem with BlackBerry per se. I think their back-end servers are some of the best server networked items ever. They're great for businesses. And I can also agree that their keyboard that they had on a lot of their best-selling BlackBerries was a very good keyboard. It felt really good. It had great feedback. It was just really, really good. They have now entered, again, it's the company that won't die, Blackberry Key2, which is a smartphone with a 4.3-inch display with a traditional BlackBerry keyboard on it. And they are using Android. They're using Oreo, I believe it is. So they're using a version of Oreo, and they do have the BlackBerry pieces still in there, though they are promoting heavily with WhatsApp, which is odd. But it's like $400. No, how much was it? I wrote that down. Let me see. I did have that because it was pretty cool. It comes in 3 colors. It's got a dual SIM. They're claiming a 2-day battery life, and it's $250. This is, as much as Freemo and I like to bag on BlackBerry for not just going away, this is a good entry for BlackBerry. I think this is good. This is really nice. And I think it could do well if they just, for $250, it's a great price point. And if you have a friend, relative, or something you're trying to find that tech gift for, this is a good option. If they were into BlackBerry before and you remember them having a BlackBerry, my wife misses her BlackBerry, loved her BlackBerry. This is a possible choice. It's only $250. It's not that bad if it is a wrong choice. Not too bad. I mean, it's not $250 we don't have thrown around, but it's at least not $1,000 phone. And speaking of making good and bad, poor financial choices, Redbox, rather. I got to give it up to Redbox. Redbox has been around for a while. If you don't know what Redbox is, you apparently are an elitist that lives underneath a rock. Redbox is those things you see outside of your local Cumberland Farms or bodega in a lot of ways that allows you to rent movies. And this is a great option for people that don't have Netflix and can't have a monthly thing. They're playing it tight. And I get that. College students, shit like that. You can get a Redbox now. There was a problem for a while with Redbox movies that people were pirating them. Well, as Freeman and I have told you before, people are going to pirate shit. It's going to happen. You kind of account. The credit card companies account for like $3 or $6 billion worth of loss every year overall because of just thefts and things like that. Redbox needed to account for that as well, and I'm sure they did. What they didn't account for is the video games that they tried to jump into, and I get it. You tried to jump into video games because it was a good idea, but at the same time, look, if you want to talk about people that aren't going to return your shit, it's gamers like that. I'm sorry. It's just going to be. That guy that just rented Madden is probably not going to return it right away. The guy that rented Call of Duty is probably not going to return it right away, if at all. They're just not. And I'm not saying that these games promote thieves. I'm saying that these people are going to play this game so much that they're going to think, well, the rental fee's there. I'm just going to do the rental fee. And it's not economically matching Redbox's plan. And I can see why. So what they're doing right now, if you have a Redbox near you, you can get a pretty badass game for short money. It's basically going to be like 50% off. I mean, they're losing their shirts anyway. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a game for like $25, $10. I think Spider-Man for the PS4 was $10 when I checked. That's a damn good deal. Now, do you get the case with it? No, you're not going to get the case with it. You can buy it online. You can buy an empty case or the cover art or a fake case for it if you really need to. But really, most of the time, the guy's just going to love the game. If you can get a fake DVD box or grab one of your old DVDs and just pull the insert out of it and print out your own insert and put it in, that's just as good because, again, the game is what matters. And if you get it for $10, if you're a teenager listening to the show or 20-something and you're broke AF, when you get to the house this Christmas, if you can hand your older brother or sister a game that you know that they'll play, or a movie's a bad example, a game they're going to play, and you got it for short money, bonus for you. If they get pissed off that it's in a shitty DVD box from another game, too fucking bad. You got a new game. I don't understand how people even think like that. Is it nice to get the shiny box? Great. If not, too fucking bad. I still got the game, which I'm going to put in my Xbox or PlayStation, and I'm going to leave it there for months while I play it. And I'm going to know where the box is, probably even lose the box. It's just a fact. So who cares? Cut out the middleman. Don't get the box and spend $10 on the game instead of $60. Okay, that's more or less rant over, I guess. But we're going to get into for what it's worth and wrap up the show for today. So now that I calmed down a little, let's get into for what it's worth. Now, I spoke at the beginning of the show about how it's wonderful that we're moving forward with a lot of things, whether it's non-political. I mean, political is always going to be political, but in the earth as a whole, I mean, we've spent a lot of time this year recognizing the global warming. Whether you get behind it fully, you have your doubts, or you don't see it at all, we've all had this conversation, which is great. Having the conversation is what's important. We've all accepted the fact that there's way too much plastic in the ocean, and we're destroying the ocean, and we need to really, really work on that. And I think we're taking more steps forward, more levels forward. We're helping in the United States. We're definitely we're saving a lot of money and doing a lot of good. I hate to say it, and you might hate me for it and send me hate mail, but legalizing of marijuana across the board. You can't deny, and a lot of times you don't hear about it, so research it yourself, I beg you. That way you have not only the knowledge, but you have the ammunition to counter somebody that's just stupid that we deal with on the sheeple, basically, the sheeple. If you look at Colorado and places that have legalized it, they're making money hand over fist. I mean, it's just, and it's not dirty money. It's nothing like that. People are going to smoke pot. You can stand at a traditional compassion center, and you can watch, not a recreational place. I mean, a compassion center that you have to waive ID to go in. And you watch the people that are going in. I mean, you see people, and you might call them dregs of society. I don't. I call them people in need. You see a lot of walkers. You see a lot of canes from people. But on the same note, yeah, you're going to see the teenagers that got away with it, or, somebody that doesn't look like they have a problem, but they have a mental issue that they need this. Whatever, anorexia, bulimia, there's 100 different ways. But it's funny that you also see the people that are just stressed out. You see high-level executives. I live in a tiny state. I saw some people that I know for a fact are in high-level positions in companies and corporations out of that area. And, they're going in there to get some stress relief. I mean, I'm seeing the strand that they're buying. That's stress relief. That's not, I want to get high and do stupid things and snort coke. That's, I'm going home, I'm stressed the fuck out, and I need to calm the hell down. Guess what? It works. I have cream on my knees right now. I have CBD cream on my knees, and it's a lifesaver for my knees that are shot. So we're moving forward with a lot of different things. And one of the things I wanted to bring up that we're moving forward with that people don't even, it amazes me, the news media coverage. So, we're doing the right thing in a lot of ways. You have actually, and I can't even put it to, it's just awesome. We flew a rocket to the International Space Station. And it was Boeing's Starliner. And it was a spaceship. It's, lack of a better term, it is. It's a rocket that's going up through the atmosphere, docking with the International Space Station, and then coming back down and landing. This is a big deal, people. This is a huge step forward for everybody. This is outside of the planet travel. Whether you set up an amusement park on the moon or a hotel, or you build a bigger space station, who cares? It's traveling outside of this earth. This is massive. I can't stop smiling about it. Unfortunately, the spacecraft did get up there. There were some malfunctions. They're not really sure what exactly happened. I'm guessing that's where Fremo is. He's in trouble. But something happened where they missed the window to dock with the space station. And most people wrote it off at that point. They're like, oh, another failure. This is bullshit. This is garbage. We're never going to. No, bullshit, because you never finished watching the story. The rest of the story is that the spacecraft then landed. It went back down to Earth and landed with its crew. That is massive. And it nailed, bullseyed the landing. So it is now feasible that we can leave, take off from this planet, dock at a space station, which will happen next time. Like, nobody was even really upset. I mean, the people that were in the know were like, yeah, we did this. This was badass. Next time we're going to dock. We couldn't do it this time. Something happened. We wanted to be safe. But next time we're going to dock. This is legit happening. This is sci-fi right here, people. Get excited. Get behind this. Talk to your congressman if you need to get something passed. I don't know. But be excited. This is some seriously cool shit. And at the same time, we're also going to, start dealing with some of the space junk. I don't think people realize that this is going to be big business. There is a lot of space junk up there, whether it's rockets, disassembled rocket pieces that were ejected, non-functional smaller satellites, pieces that have broken off during solar storms and smaller asteroid storms and things like that. That stuff needs to be cleared up. Like, they're talking about Elon Musk sending up satellites, which is great. It's going to help. But if you send up too many satellites, the sky gets cluttered. Astronomers are already bitching that they can't get good sight of anything because there's so much debris and bullshit up there. Well, now it's become a big business. The European Space Agency just signed a contract with ClearSpace to remove a piece of rocket left, which is forward thinking for a future launch. And I think that's brilliant because now they're going to take care of their own trash in the meantime. But this moves and makes way for ClearSpace to literally, and their name says ClearSpace, to clean up there. I mean, you can look at it as a bulldozer going through. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can put it in another rocket and fire it into the sun and let it just melt. There's 100 different ways around it, but this is big business. This is going to be a business that if you're an investor, look into some of these businesses and invest, because this is going to be huge. The market for in-orbit satellite services is projected to reach about $4.5 billion by 2028. I'm saying double that. Easily double that. Because you have the amount of people that want better signal, global Wi-Fi, global power is not out of the realm of possibility. If you're talking electrical engines, this is not out of the realm of possibility. So you're going to see a lot of different things coming to fruition. That's going to double. If you're an investor, I personally, if I had money to invest in stuff, I would invest in something like ClearSpace. Because they're going to, if they can get up there and do it at least one time, then they're going to make that product better, and they're going to continuously go up there and clear out shit, which is going to make people very, very happy. More satellites up. It means better for everyone. Last bit of news this week, I just want to point out that if you haven't seen it, go check out Eddie Murphy returned and hosted Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live is one of those things that is a rite of passage. Whether your parents talk to you about it or your older brother or sister, you'll come across it a lot of times in the mid to late 20s. The jokes will make a lot of sense. It'll be very funny. You're going to be like, holy shit, that's hilarious. And a lot of risque in a lot of ways. It's very cool to see Eddie Murphy coming back because he has some of the most iconic characters. It's where he cut his teeth. It's great. And he's back to Saturday Night Live, so I implore you to watch it, enjoy it, and smile about it. It's the Christmas episode they're going to have. And from not giving you too many spoilers, but he apparently pulled out all the stops and did all of the characters. So that should be very cool. And hopefully next time we'll have Fremo back. I'm sure everything will be cleared up by then. So until that time, that's it. That's it for this week. 10's down, show's over.
Thanks for tuning in. You can find more of this funny stuff at bgfgonline.com. Please click on the donate button. This is a user-contributed show. And follow us on Twitter at BGFG Online and Facebook, Phoenix Media Group. See ya.